Hey there YouTube, Superbrain AK here, and got a GPU repair video for you guys. So what you're gonna need, small Phillips, some sort of pry tool, a larger Phillips, and of course some little paint brushes to give everything a good clean. Because on this graphics card here, the fans are dead. Well, only one of the fans, but I think I'm going to replace them all just to be safe. So, this is the GV-N107TGaming-8GD. This is a card from my brother because he's been mining on it. I don't know if you can see the sheens of oil on it that's been leaking out. So yeah, let me get you over to the tablet to kind of show you the product page so you know what you're looking for. So yeah, this is the GeForce GTX 1070 Ti Gaming 8GB with the Windforce there, triple fans. So I'll bring you back to the card and I'll have the listing for the replacement fans in the description. It's not an affiliate link at all. I'm just showing you how to replace the fans because I figured I'd do a video about it. Alrighty, so here are the replacement fans here by Robert. Like I said, I'll have the listing in the description below. So it's got 3 new fans and a cable harness there. And as you can see, nope, not quite. Get this card flipped around for you. So yeah, it's a little bit dusty. I've got the fan cable unplugged from right there to kind of show you what the fans are doing. So negative is on the right, positive is the second pin in from the right, and I've got it hooked up to a power supply over here. Oh, we'll give it 12 volts at 1 amp. And you can see 2 of the fans are running, but the third is doing nothing. So yeah, these fans are still good, but I think I'm going to replace them anyway because it looks like you have to completely remove the shroud and fish out the wires. So I'm going to be re-thermal pasting everything. So let's get to it. So I'm going to unplug this guy, these guys. So yeah, you don't have to unplug this first. You can unplug that later. But to get the shroud off, you need to undo these. Focus. I don't know if you can see that in there. Oh, there you go. That screw right there. So there are 4 screws in each corner. 1, There are 4 screws in each corner. One here, one here, one here, and one here. You should be able to get all the screws except for this one, because it's behind the DVI port. So even if you pull the back plate off, you can't get to that screw. So that's the only reason why you can't take the shroud off without taking the heatsink off. So you have to take the heatsink off. To take the heatsink off, you've got these 4 screws here to mount the heatsink to the GPU die. These 2 screws here for the VRM, I believe. I don't know if you can see that there. And then that should pull off the whole heatsink. So I'm going to get these 6 screws out and come back when I'm done. Okay, so now that the screws are loosened, you can remove them, and don't forget to don't drop the little spring that's attached. Oh, I guess it is actually fully attached to the screw. So we'll get these out of the way. Then the whole shroud should pop off. Or the whole heatsink should pop off. I think. Get a pry tool here. There we go. Sounded like a sufficient pop there. Do be careful you don't pry on any surface mount components. Just pry onto the bare board. Alright. So watch out for these 2 screws that are still in there. Caught them. And there you go. So you've got the die there, VRM over there, and you got RAM around here. You got a couple RGB headers here. We'll go ahead and remove those. Oh, and first thing you're probably going to want to do is unplug the fan before you flip it over. Okay, so besides a disgusting board here, we should be done with that for now. And moving on to the heatsink here. So the 4 screws, there you go, one in here, one in here, same on the other side. You can see these really easy, one here and one there. So I'll get those removed and the shroud should pop off. Give me a minute. Alrighty, so I've removed those 4 screws. 2 on this side, 2 on the other side, and you should be able to just pop it out. There we go. So there's the fans and the shroud, and here's the heatsink, which is extremely dirty. We'll go ahead and set that over there on the GPU board in its approximate location. And you can see you got some RGB over here, and then you've got all the fan stuff over here. So the fan that was bad was this one. I'm going to replace them all. So to get the fans out, you can see these, one screw here, which is why you need a small screwdriver to get in between the blades there. One screw down here, and one last screw over here. So I'm going to do that for all 3 fans and come back. Okay, so as you can see, I've removed all the screws except for this last one, and having a magnetized screwdriver definitely helps, so that you just put the screwdriver in and it pops out. So now, to get these fans out, we're going to need to fish the wire out of these little clips. I already did this one. Just trying to figure it out. So yeah, careful that you don't bend the clip. And I am going to leave the shroud cable. Well, no, it just comes out really easy, so I'm going to take it out. I am going to put an X on this fan and keep these other 2 fans as spares in case the new ones ever die. Oh, grab a Sharpie. Put an X on the bad one. And we'll get these guys out of here. So it's definitely a lot easier from this side, I believe. Should be able to just pry up on the wire. Yep. There you go. And this last one. It's a very soft plastic, so it's not very brittle. Okay, and then you just pull the wires out. You will have to unplug them. Should be as easy as just unplugging, I believe. Unplugs from that side. There we go. Come on. There we go. And last one should just feed all the way through. Alright, so that's those removed. And I'm going to go ahead and get this shroud all cleaned up and ready to install the new fans. See you in a bit. Alrighty, so everything has been cleaned. I have left the thermal pads on the heatsink here, but I cleaned all around them, and I cleaned this area completely. One thing I did notice, I don't know if you can see that black spot, and there's a matching spot on the actual die. If you can see that there, focus on the card. There you go. There's like a literal crater in the GPU die. That doesn't seem very good. Yeah, this was overheating, but I didn't know it was overheating that badly. The thermal paste was all baked around that. Got some pictures I might insert. And yeah, so I had to scrape that off with a razor blade. And being careful not to actually get the blade inside the crater there, because that could be the raw CPU right there. So, doesn't look hopeful that this card is going to work anymore. But, that being said, this is still a good tutorial on how to replace the fans and to re-thermal paste your heatsink. Yeah. Do it sooner rather than later. So, I'm going to go ahead and put some Noctua thermal paste, NTH1, on all the thermal pads for the RAM and for the VRM and heatsinks. So I'm going to put all that on here, but I'm going to put the GPU thermal paste on the actual die because I know where all that's going to go. And I'm going to fill up that crater. Hopefully this stuff is pretty non-conductive, so at least for the most part. Yeah. I wouldn't want to do this repair with Arctic Silver. So, I'll show you the... oh. First thing you want to do, make sure you have the fans in and wired, and put the shroud back on to the heatsink. It would go... Alright, so I'm going to mess with that, and I'll come back with some thermal paste on everything. Alright, and we are back. I've got the heatsink here, got it all thermal pasted, and I've got the fan wires routed here. It's all tucked up in this corner. Now the VRM goes to the open side, whereas the normal heatsink goes to the closed side. And this side goes back towards the back plate. There's your VRM. So this just flips up and over. So, well, technically I'm going to do it the opposite direction because these two RGB headers are really short, so I'm going to flip it over like this. And I've got those 4 screws in the corners holding the shroud to the heatsink. And like I said, I've got a bunch of thermal paste on the pads, and I've got thermal paste here inside the crater and on top of the die there. So I'm going to plug in the RGB headers. There we go. This guy flips around like that. That looks good. So now I'm going to go in like this and try and line it up. And then once you push it together, you don't want to remove it because you'll create air bubbles in the thermal paste. So I'm just putting it on the side there. It's not quite aligned properly, but I'm just going to slightly slide it over. There we go. So I'm going to give it pressure there and then pivot the whole board so the thermal paste works its way around. That's how you get really good contact, because you're working the thermal paste back and forth and kind of spreading it out. And you never want to relieve the pressure, otherwise you'll just get an air bubble in the center. So, while keeping pressure with my left hand, I'm going to put in one of the die screws. Use my large screwdriver for this. Put that in there. So just do it slightly snug, keeping the pressure on so we're tied down here. We're not tied in over here. Get it so it's snug. Give it a little bit more of a wiggle as you got more even tension, and kind of work it so it's nice and in. I'm actually going to leave the other two out and put in the VRM side screws. Alright, so those are kind of tight, and then I'll get these other two screws in. Now I've got all the screws in most of the way. I'm working back and forth a little bit more. Doesn't seem like it's going to move at all, so that's in and tight, and then snug down the screws all the way. You don't want to go too crazy because this is just screwing into aluminum. Okay, so now that that's together, I'll go ahead and test the fans like I did earlier. Alrighty, got them wired into my power supply there, test them out. Looks like they're working just fine. And 3 volts. I think the other ones have stopped at like 2.3 volts or something. Oh. That's 3 volts there. Neat. These take a little more voltage to go, but there are 3 of them going, so. Alrighty. So that is repaired. And I'll get this wire fished into the heatsink and plugged in here. Shouldn't be too difficult. I need a little extra slack there. No. Oh, there we go. There's plenty of slack there. Get this fished up and over. I'm going to use my flathead screwdriver to kind of manipulate it. Focus. There we go. Alright, I'm going to pause and get this in here. Alrighty. I've got everything plugged in, and graphics card is installed in the system. So, place your bets in a comment down below. See if this card with a crater in its die still works. Switch on the power supply. And switch on the power supply. Ah. Ooh, that doesn't look good. Unless I turned off the power supply. Ah. It's on. The TV shows stuff. I don't believe it. Is it going to get to a desktop environment? Yes, it's running Linux Mint. Got a mouse. And we're in! Yay! The temperature sensor should launch in a second. There it is. It is currently 32 degrees Celsius. I don't know if you can see that there. You see GeForce GTX 1070 Ti, 34 degrees Celsius. I don't think I have the mining program readily available, so won't stress it just yet, but the GPU is running again. You can see the BIOS LEDs down there. Oof. Well, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Looked like it was a success. Of course, the fans are in their fan stop, but so anyone who put in that it was going to work, you guys are right, and guys who said it wasn't going to work, you guys are wrong. So apparently, even if you have a crater in your die, it's still not a lost cause. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one.